Hello everybody, it's Mecha Draco coming to you once again with another Observations of Society. And in today's episode, I wanted to get into more detail about my opinion and observations of feminism. And I also wanted to do another follow-up video after this one that gets a little bit more in detail with MGTOW. Now, we're going to be focusing primarily on feminism on this video, so don't assume anything that I say here has anything to do with MGTOW. We're going to split up the two, different from my original video that did actually try to talk about both of them, which is where I believe I made my first real actual mistake. Though I do believe both of them are, in fact, similar to one another, I do believe that I may have made it seem like I thought MGTOW and feminism were a lot more alike than what I actually believe. And I misinterpreted a few correlations between the two groups when I did not mean to make those correlations, and I do want to apologize on that. With that being said, I would like to move on into the subject today for today's video, which is of course actually talking about feminism and only feminism. Now, as I said in my previous video, I still believe that feminism is based around the selfish, egotistical, and immature outlooks on life. And I think that a lot of the reasons why these individuals have these kind of outlooks is because their interactions within the world have a tendency to be on an immature level, or more specifically, they go from being within schools like middle school and high school and college, and then they either enter the real world or they start to get their first tastes of reality or the real world while in college, and they start to see and think themselves as being victims because they're being treated like normal adults. But of course, because they have some kind of, I don't know, selfish outlook on life or egocentrical view or something else along those lines, because of how they were raised, because of something else along those lines, they view these interactions with people within the real world as an attack upon their person, or even more so, an attack on their identity. And they start to think that this is essentially how the whole real world actually exists. And then, of course, when you have people who try to correct them, that only furthers to justify their explanation that these are attacks, that these are sexist and other things like that, actions towards them because of this fact. Because they were raised by an individual, or they have stayed within their little safety bubble for so long that when they finally actually start to have real life interactions with real people in the real world, they don't realize that how they've been treated all their life is not how the real world works. So when someone disrespects them, they don't think that they're just being disrespected because they are dumb or their opinions suck or some other thing like that. They think that it's an attack upon their person. And instead of just moving on and accepting that they can't change everyone's opinions, they feel like this is a systematic problem that affects all women because all men are like this. Now, on top of course, these issues follow up with problems like the wage gap issue, which of course does not exist, as I believe most people by this point know, does not exist in the way that it is viewed. The 78 cents on a dollar thing is obviously a complete lie, or at the very least a stretch of the truth. That's probably the best you could really pull for it. But the fact is that these types of things are things that do not represent reality. These are things that are not actually happening within our society, at least upon the scale in which they are inferring that it does. For example, on a systematic or on a grand gender-based scale where every male has this view. At the very least, not within the Western world. And again, as I have stated before, I do not necessarily disagree with everything that the feminist movement tries to talk about. However, I do not necessarily agree with everything that they say either, obviously. I do think that there are things that feminists fight for, even in today's society, even within the Western world, that are worth fighting for. I don't know and can't or name those things offhand because I don't have anything sitting in front of me. However, if there are periods and things that occur that are sexist, I believe feminists have the right to try to defend and fight against that, even if it's not necessarily on the scale in which they think it exists. And that is, of course, not to say that they are the only ones who can fight for this cause, but that doesn't mean that they don't still hold the right to fight for that cause. So basically, in conclusion, I don't necessarily think that feminism is bad or that it should be gotten rid of completely. I think that it has its place within society, even though I don't agree with its current state. And that the majority of the individuals who are at the very least outspoken and within the mainstream, within the group basically that is seen, that represents feminism, are often the times the ones that are spreading the most selfish and egotistical and incorrect information. And these are the individuals that I view as being immature, selfish, and egotistical, because they don't take the opportunity to actually pay attention to what's really happening in the world, or try to listen to the conversation, or even try to come up with solutions to the problem. Well, everybody, I hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm planning on following this up with a MGTOW video here fairly soon. So if you'd like to see that one, keep your eyes open for that. I might be following those videos up with some more on a later date. We'll see. And as always, guys, good luck out there, and don't forget to have fun.
Well, hey everybody, it's me, Mecha Draco again. Just coming back to you real quick to see how you guys felt about this new voice I'm trying out. I've been playing around a little bit on Audacity, and it sounds really awesome. And I just felt like I might want to throw this at you guys, see how you felt about it. And if you guys liked it, maybe I can continue to do voices like this. I'm going to go ahead and do my MGTOW video in the normal voice. But if for any future videos, if you guys like this voice, I'll certainly start using it. Well, as always, guys, remember, good luck out there, and don't forget to have fun.